Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me in another of my wonderful interviews. Have you ever thought about magnets and the power of magnets? Have you thought that actually magnets could be there to help your health? Well, only the other day, actually, I received a curious gift through the post. And here it is. And now, as I understand it, it creates a primer field. I don't really know what that means, but I'm going to find out. Now, the lady who is sort of involved in all of this and is developing them and showing people and demonstrating how marvelous they are is a lady called Rachel Russell. She's going to join me in a second. And she describes herself as an ordinary lady, but having spoken to her over a couple of months and just before we started recording, I think she's more than just an ordinary lady. She has lots of things up her sleeves, and she joins me now. Hello to you, Rachel.
Hello, Richard. Thank you so much for having me.
It's lovely to have you on there. We've had a lovely conversation prior to recording, and we've spoken on the social media sort of apps and things. And you very kindly sent me a bowl. It's a bowl-shaped thing, and you've got one there. And it looks like sort of little glitter on the inside, but they are magnets, powerful magnets, all set in a special array by the looks of things. And it creates an amazing field of magnetism. And magnets, as I understand it, I mean, they're more powerful than electricity, is what I was reading only the other day. So, Rachel, do tell us a little bit about them and how we use them and what they're for and how everybody can embrace them.
Yeah, well, it was initially, I suppose, a way in which we can help people with pain, because pain is something that I think disturbs a lot of us, whether it be arthritis, whether it be migraines, issues with teeth, people have abscesses and things, but magnets are way more than we originally, I suppose, understood. So it's kind of like the flower of life. I don't know if you can see it. It's not trying to get to the camera. There we go. So they're geometrically arranged inside. Oops, trying to get it into the middle of the screen. It's kind of slow-mo.
Yeah, sorry about
that. It's all right. It's a slight delay on the camera. But yeah, so what we've done, so this amazing chap, David Lapointe, so he created these and purely by accident. He wasn't, kind of into the magnet industry or anything, but he was trying to create a way in which to create a straight line for his, I can't even remember what it was called, some plasma array, I think it was.
Right.
But he wanted a way in which he could kind of funnel the energy. So he created this kind of, it was like a round cylindrical pattern. And so that it actually really worked.
Focusing the magnetic field.
Yes, exactly. So he created that, but he'd had it was by accident, but he had a calf muscle that was all, it was, what do you call it, cramped.
Cramped, oh yeah.
So cramped. And I think for the second day, it was kind of all deformed and nasty.
Oh, gosh. And very painful. I know what cramps can be like.
Yeah, but he put it next to his this field thing. He was having a look at it, and he could kind of feel this pulling effect.
Wow.
And he was fascinated by it. So he thought, well, maybe I could try it on my calf, and he did, and instantly the calf muscle just completely went back to normal. So he thought, my goodness me, there is something incredible here. So he started making these for as in kind of magnets in a cylindrical, it was in kind of like a tunnel shape, and helping his friends that had been in pain, because he realized that maybe this was some kind of healing device potentially. And he was so excited, he wanted to tell the FDA and the Food and Drugs Administration in America, but they shut his company down. There were only 2 companies that year that were shut down, and basically he had everything confiscated. And so he was naive in that. Yes.
As we all are when we start out.
Yeah, you think, yeah, I found something amazing for humanity, and
yeah, and nobody wants to know. Like, hang on a second, what's going on? This is really good.
Yeah, So he escaped. He actually escaped to the UK. He popped over to Oxford, and he was able to patent this idea. But he'd later then created this kind of this flower of life, essentially. But all these magnets, there's 40 of them, and each one can lift approximately 3 kilos each, and
Wow.
they're all pointing to one point, which is this kind of this sweet spot. So he patented this whilst he was in the UK. And then in 2019, he unpatented it so that everyone could have access to this technology. And so ever since then, we were looking at these. So Tony is my partner, and he's the genius behind it, really. Because what we've been able to do, because we initially we were fascinated by it, and we were building other things. We were building blood cleansers and ways in which people create their own colloidal silver, and there were the Bob Bet machines, and a few other things. But so we couldn't actually at the time afford, during the pandemic, because I wasn't consulting anymore, I wasn't bringing in the cash, so we couldn't actually afford the magnets because they were so jolly expensive. So what we did, we finally built one. And in September last year, I lent one out or gave one out to a friend so that she could do some testing, and she'd had MS. I didn't even realise that she'd had, is it scoliosis? The curvature of the back, is it?
Oh, right. Okay. Could be.
Like so MS, apparently sometimes it actually creates a curvature of the spine, the result of it. And after a month, it had fixed this curvature of her spine. So it had realigned her spine. And I was blown away. I mean, it was, yeah. Could you imagine? Like literally fixing somebody's back. I mean, crazy, absolutely bizarre. So
with something that, you know, you can't see it. That's the thing, isn't it? You can't see the power, and so there's a lot of like, blimey, was that?
Yeah. So it creates essentially a toroidal field. So you can test it with a compass. So if you go around it with a compass, it's approximately about 1 meter. And then to pop these in the post, obviously you have to seal it up like it's a bit crazy, really.
I know. I've got the box. I've got the box here, and it did surprise me when it came, but I can understand because of the power of the magnets. It comes
with gloves, so that you can.
It comes with gloves, but you've got this steel container, so that I guess in the postal system you're not there next to somebody else's, I don't know, mini disc that somebody's sending with important information or something. It's just suddenly taken all the files away. So it's quite good. I mean, that must in itself cost a lot just to have manufactured in order to protect it once it's being posted.
Well, they're not that expensive, but the expensive part is because when they arrive, they've got oil all over them and shards of metal and everything. So, we provide gloves just in case, because they are slightly dirty. And because there's such a huge, because this book could lift, you know, anywhere up to 180 kilos, which is essentially 2 people. So when you put the lid on, I mean, I don't like things that snap.
No, that's right. And you can pinch your skin in there. So absolutely.
Which is why it is important not to have these anywhere near children, really, because you know, metal things can go flying to them, and you can get your fingers trapped. And children's fingers are very delicate, you know, and they can break. So, and then
I mean, can I ask a question? Because it just suddenly dawned on me. I mean, we're all in this environment. We know that things are in the atmosphere, and there's a lot of heavy metals and things. I mean, if you're running it down your body, presumably some of these metals are metallic, are magnetic, and it may be that you know you can bring them to the surface or something. I don't know.
Well, it changes the structure of water, you know, and depending on how much you zoom into our bodies, we're pretty much 99.99% water. So I mean, if you wanted to drink structured water, you just literally put a straw through there, or you could create, you know, a spirally thing, but then, you know, you vortex the water if you wanted to. But yeah, and then you could drink through that hole.
I'm sorry to interrupt the program. But I hope you're enjoying it so far. And if you'd like to see the rest of this interview or these monologues, then do go over to my other channel on Rumble, which is rumble.com/users/Vobes, where you can see the whole thing complete, uncensored and unedited. You know that YouTube at the moment is not too happy with some of the content that I've been putting up. So in order to be fair to them and to be fair to you, I'm putting all the sensitive material on my other channel, the one that's listed just below here. And I hope that you find it all there. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for supporting this channel. It is very much appreciated.